Hi everybody. Turn off my baby monitor in the barn so you don't have chicken chaos. Okay, what I want to do is I want to show you the start of my new lap quilt. It's a couch throw basically. This pattern is on the internet. Free to use pattern. This one is called Solitaire. And it uses all in here half square triangles. I'm going to show you how to make half square triangles and give you some basic instructions on how to get started on this quilt. First thing you need to do is you need to choose your colors, light, medium, and dark, the colored parts, and then you need to choose your background color, your pattern color. I don't know which one you would call it, this white or off-white or cream color. You need to choose this fabric. It can be a solid, it can be a tone-on-tone print, but it has to be in high contrast to the other colored squares. This takes 21 of the light colored of the background squares, 21 of those, and 21 of these. Any color that you want to choose. This one is done in blues. I'm going to do mine in purples. So the first thing you need to do is you need to cut 21 squares of the white background, white or cream, whichever, and 21 squares of the various shades of whatever color you've chosen. And this particular pattern calls for 10-inch squares. I cut mine 10.5 because this ruler, I just place it down and I cut around this. This is 10.5 inches. I didn't take off the ½ inch like the pattern calls for. It just means my quilt is going to be slightly bigger, but as long as everything's the same, whatever you choose, all your squares are exactly the size that you choose to do. So first thing we want to do is you've cut out your 21 colored squares. I would say choose lights, mediums, and darks. Not white like the background, but light, medium, and dark of whatever shade you choose. And make sure there's high contrast. High contrast. So between this and these colored squares, you're going to have some really high contrast here, okay? So you cut out 21 of the colors and 21 of the background squares. Next thing you know, you put the right sides together. Now this particular purple could be used on the back side for a lighter color, but put your right sides together. Most of the fabrics I've used don't have a right side and a back side. They just, like this particular solid here, is the same no matter which side it's on. Most of my fabrics are, except for this one. So you have to make sure they're all turned to the right, the exact same side that you're using. So you put these right sides together, line them up really well. Then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to line it up so that you're doing a 45 angle straight across from corner to corner. And I just use a lead pencil because quilt markers, the ones that are disappear by air, disappear by water, sometimes if you do them ahead of time, they disappear on you before you can even do any sewing or cutting. So I just use this. It's on the back side. It's not going to matter. Just a lead pencil. Go put a line across. Okay? Now, you have this and you have your line. Do not sew on this line. This is not the line you sew on. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on the other side of this line, 1/4 inch from the center reference line, and then you're going to turn it around and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to have 2 seams running parallel to this center line that you've drawn on the diagonal. Okay? Once you've done that, and you've got the 2 seams here and you've got this line, then you're going to take your rotary cutter and you are going to cut on the written line. You're going to cut right on the line. Just don't sew on the line. You'll absent-mindedly do that sometimes. Just sew on the line instead of that, and you'll have to pick it out and start over. So you will cut. When you cut this down the middle, you're going to have 2 sections of triangles. Okay. Then you're going to open them up and press the seams toward the darker side. And in the end, you're going to end up with 42 squares that look like this. Each of these that you do and then you cut makes 2 squares exactly the same. Okay? So you're going to have a lot of half square triangles. And you can see, I've written on some of these things here, like my notes. In this exploded version here, you can see that they have shown you how to place your colored versus your white side. They showed you how to, so that you end up with this pattern here, with this motif. I guess motif's the wrong word, but you see what I mean. It tells you exactly how. Follow their diagram. Doesn't matter that you've chosen, say you chose red and they chose blue. I've chosen purple and they've chosen blue. So as long as your colored squares are where these colored squares are, and you see they got light, medium, and dark on here. You see there's light, mediums, and darks. Now they have some tan ones in here that I've chosen not to do, but that's entirely up to you. Once you have all your half square triangles sewn and cut out, then what you're going to do is make sure they're all exactly the same size. So all you're going to do is you're going to take this and put this on top, and you're going to stack these. You're going to iron them down and you're going to stack them, and then you're going to make sure that you square them up with your ruler, your template, so they're exactly the same size before you put any of them together. So that's the way you get started on this solitaire quilt. It's really quite easy. This was basically a tutorial, kind of a mini tutorial on how to do half square triangles. Half square triangles are so versatile. So you would end up, if I sewed this and cut this down the center, then you would have 2 that look just like this. So I hope this makes sense, and I'll come back at a later date and I will show you how it's looking, how I've arranged my quilt and how it looks different. Now this also calls for 2 borders, a very narrow border and a slightly larger border. So you know, you can do that, or you can do without a border, I suppose. I mean, it's up to you. Or you can just do 1 border that's the same size as these 2, or 1 border that's the same size as a small one. It's going to change the size of your quilt, of course. It's going to change the size of the quilt. This particular quilt, doing the 10-inch squares like they call for, which I've done 10.5, I think this is, the size runs, let me see, what is the size on this? 67, I think, oh, this lap quilt, made according to their instructions, exactly the size of their squares, mine are a little bit bigger, is pretty much 67 by 76. So it's a good size lap quilt couch throw. So I'm going to come back after I get these things cut out and sewn together, and we will show you how it looks when it's arranged. And then I'll choose the border fabrics. Thanks for watching.